Hello, welcome back. Another week, another tier list. I'm joined once again by Cranberry and Dusk. I'm going to leave you guys to figure out which order you want to say hello in.
We are very sorry that we forgot last week. Cranberry would like to apologize profusely.
Oh no, I don't want to apologize. I refuse.
Yeah,
Also, hello.
yeah, yeah.
It's good to be back. I think recent events may color some of the rankings that we choose today, but looking forward to it anyway.
Yeah, I guess if you want to get right into it here in the intro, I know not everyone is in the Discord and probably not everyone is as involved in hunting down the cursed seeds. Who would like to describe what has transpired this weekend?
It's, we're calling it the cranberry seed, so I think it's
Mm-hmm.
fitting that I sort of explain it.
Fair.
The day was was it yesterday? Was it 2 days ago? When was it?
Was it that recent? Jesus.
August 18th, I'm gonna say. August 18th,
It was
2021. A day that will live in was it not the 18th?
it was Wednesday. Yeah, I think it was the 18th. You got it.
Okay. Okay. August 18th, a day that will live in infamy. Um, I was trying to just, record Monster Train YouTube episodes, nothing weird. Roll up that random. I'm on a bit of a losing streak at this point. I think I lost 2 runs in a row, so I'm like, God, I need a real good one here. And I get Tethys Hellhorn, and I'm like, okay, not the worst thing ever. Ring 1, no problem. I think I take 5 fire damage, no big deal, right? Go into ring 2, we have the option left side of a spell shop and a pile of money. And on right side, we've got a steel shop and a Hellhorn banner. Conventional wisdom would tell you units are the backbone of any monster train strategy. Only one path here has a unit, and I'm playing Tethys as my starter or as my champion. He sucks. Nobody likes him. So I should probably pick up a unit here. The unit banner has Demon Fiend and Consumer of Crowns. And it's horrible. And I lost there, and everyone's saying the rest of the run beyond that point, if you make it past it, is also terrible.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. All right. So you want to
what?
know? Okay. It took me 3 hours to get through this run, and I still freaking lost. And this run, all you have to do is just YOLO into that magic shop on ring 2. You see
Mm-hmm.
holdover plus 30 ice storm, and you win the game from there. Easy run. And it's so annoying because everything I've learned for forever playing this game is, well, when you have conduit, especially, you need something. And you can survive that ring 2 with a large stone into a train steward, and it's fine, but it sets you back so far. And I think you can still navigate to a win, but it is truly doomed. It is just the worst run of Monster Train I think I've played in since March.
And I know Gabriel took a stab at it, and he got to Divinity, but I think lost there.
Yeah.
I think last I checked, 2 people managed to find the winning line of going that left path, getting
Yeah.
the holdover extremed ice storm, and then cruising from there.
Yeah.
But I voiced. I think you took a stab at it too, right?
Yeah, I played the run. I did. I knew going into it. I like based on what everyone was saying. I was pretty confident that the no units plus Hellhorn was going to be Demon Fiend Consumer of Crowns. But I
Mhm.
went right and I saw it for myself. I made it through. I got to Arcus, but I was also playing. I got to Arcus in like 15 minutes. When I play this game and I'm not recording it, I go. I make
Fast.
decisions on about a 3 second impulse.
Mm.
But I played Extreme Stone, Ice Storm. I played like a sweep unit, but I didn't have the survivability to live Arcus. If I had thought about it a little more, I probably would have put Quick on the sweep unit, but I gave it plus 25 because I was scared and then didn't have enough health to live Arcus. It's a pretty
Yeah.
doomed seed. You have to do some weird stuff to get out of it.
The winning line in hindsight makes a lot of sense,
Mm-hmm.
but it's hard to identify it when you're thrown a curveball like that. Basically, the winning line is you take space somewhere, you take draw, you have Tethys with Conduit 1, Chillwind 2 on mid floor. You have Icy Cellophite with 2 multi strikes infused with a Nameless Siren, and then Armor Shark in front. And
Ah.
it wins real clean. The problem is that if you go right at that shop, you don't see a holdover until later in the run, and you might make other decisions before then, which is what happened to me. So that's kind of what happened. Anyway, it sucked. It was
Yeah.
awful.
It was a
Yeah,
bad seed.
trash. trash run. And I think the big issue is with that seed specifically is that like with no knowledge of what's about to happen, you would have to be insane to go left there because you need a unit.
Yeah,
You need
absolutely.
something.
Like, so I replayed this and I was like, okay, let's assume we don't see the holdover. You get a plus 30 ice storm. Cool. You lose in ring 2 unless one condition is met. You just happen to draw all your spells into the boss. You can't rely on that. It's just the stupidest thing ever. You can't do that.
I mean, you do have cheater's hand, so you can hold the ice storm over for the boss draw.
It's true.
Which I remember doing a few times on that. I was like holding the important spells over. But anyway. It was a pretty rough seed, and I think it is going to sort of it might impact our feelings towards Tethys in this tier list. I mean, my feelings are mostly, I feel, unimpacted. The seed was pretty gross, but I think it's more of a Hellhorn units problem than a Tethys problem, personally.
Yeah.
I think the fact that that unit banner exists in the game in any capacity, where you just walk into Combat 2 and there is no playable unit that you could have possibly seen, is like literally no playable unit. Like it is impossible to play any of those units. It's pretty gross.
Would do you think Demon Fiend? We're getting really off topic here. We haven't even talked about the actual clan combo tiers yet. But do you think that Demon Fiend would be broken if it was a 3-cost unit?
No.
No. Look at First of Kin. First of Kin is
Yeah.
literally Demon Fiend, but better.
I mean, his stats are a little worse,
But
but
it scales and it
it
has
scales,
a good
exactly.
infusion.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't understand why this like it just seems weird. Like I guess it's like it's more early auto win than the First of Kin is, but even then, First of Kin's like actually pretty strong in the early game too. So I
Yeah.
don't get why it's too big of an issue. Like I don't why not make Demon Fiend 3-cost?
It's because they haven't done a balance change since the Divinity DLC came out, I'm pretty sure.
Didn't they do one change with the Transcendent change? Wasn't that post DLC?
Yeah, they did a what was it, a 2.1 that changed a few things, but it was actually
Yeah.
pretty small in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I think they're mostly moving away from Monster Train is what I feel. So the reason why things haven't been rebalanced is because they're not really doing much.
Well,
Would be my guess. Anyway, you guys want to get tier listing?
yeah.
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 I mean, fortunately, the first combo that we're going to
Mhm.
talk about is literally the one that was just the
Yeah.
challenging seed we talked about.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to out and say Stygian Hellhorn, that's a solid D tier. Drop the whole rank because of that challenge.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I hate this combo.
I put it in F tier just because I'm
Oh.
probably upset. It might not deserve it, but Tethys sucks. There is the I think I mentioned it before when we were on the Hellhorn side of this, but there is the armor Stygian Hellhorn synergy thing. Like they work well together. You have access to the Railhammer, whatever it is, the +4 armor whenever armor's applied.
Yep.
Relic in this clan combo, which is very strong with Stygian. But fuck this game, fuck this clan combo, fuck you Tethys, fuck you Demon Fiend, fuck you Consumer of Crowns. I'm done.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And the thing is that I rank a lot of these based on consistency. So if I have a very high confidence of finding the line, then I think it's a little better in general. But this one, you kind of just have to hit in shops or hit with units in order to win. And it can be pretty hard to piece together a mediocre run, like a mid roll with this combo. So I do think it is a little bit worse than some others we'll talk about for sure.
Yeah. I think that this combo, what I as we talk about it here and as I think about it a little more, I think that this is a combo where you probably shouldn't take Conduit to start in hindsight now. Like thinking back on all of our previous runs, I think this is the combo that is most likely to outright kill you in the early game because all of Hellhorn and Stygian's units are low base health and then they scale up. Except for like, I don't know, Demon Fiend I guess has 50, right? But for the most part you have units that are like 15 to 20 health, but they scale up, and sometimes early on especially, you're not going to be scaling them super high. And also same idea, low base damage scales up. Early on you're not going to scale them super well. Sometimes you just die to Daedalus with these guys. And yeah, I think that if I've learned anything from talking about this cursed run and thinking about it, you probably just skip Conduit if you're playing Stygian Hellhorn and you go with whatever the other option is so Tethys can try to do something.
I don't know. Handheld Totem is also pretty trash early game.
It sweeps. It's really good for that.
Yeah,
A lot of
it's true.
times your big killer will be backliners sneaking up and Tethys hits those backliners. And the spell weakness isn't bad.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I don't love handheld totem because she becomes a genuine liability later in the game, and you can't easily pair her with conduit because she'll kill herself on spikes and stuff.
Yeah.
But whereas, like, at least Chillwind only hits once, so you can reasonably pivot into Conduit later and make her functional. So I don't know. The other problem I think is that Tethys really wants to be played top floor in the DLC. Finding a way to sit her mid and then capitalize on that somehow up above is kind of tricky. It depends a lot on draw orders, and especially with mid floor losing space in the Divinity DLC change, that makes it a little trickier as well. It can be tough, but your point is well taken.
Yeah. I also feel like, though, uh, you can take spell weakness and just leave the early game alive and be fine, and then it doesn't really matter on the divinity because in a majority of your runs you're going to be playing 2 sirens, and sure, you don't get the conduit value, but that just means you have to take 1 energy or something like that instead and go to some magic shops. Like,
Yeah.
it's not so bad. It's only really bad if you're playing something real cursed, but if you're playing something cursed, it's not really Tethys' fault if you're in the divinity and things look grim.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing is that you probably don't usually need 3 in conduit. It's very rare you have a ton of 3 cost spells, and a few -1s is okay to kind of compensate for that if you only get 2 ranks or something.
Yeah, agree.
I think the connective tissue here that I'm seeing is that no matter what happens, no matter how you play Tethys, and all of these clan combos basically, there's a high chance that relying on Tethys to do anything will be a big liability towards your run.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
do talk about the Joker here quite a bit, but we usually talk about Joaquin or Ledger. What about Leto? Maybe instead of damage tattooed on Tethys' forehead, we should go with a liability tattoo right on Tethys' forehead.
Hell yeah,
yeah.
brother.
Listen, I'm trying to get everyone to like the Jared Leto Joker. That's my bit now.
Your bit is you're trying to get people to like Jared Leto Joker by comparing Jared Leto Joker to Tethys.
Yes.
Makes perfect sense to
A
me.
tough sell. Real quick, I feel like we're going to spend a little more time on the first of each of these because we're talking about the champion a lot, and then we can just reference back to this. I don't think Tethys. Or actually, I do think Tethys is the worst champion in the game now. I know when we did the tier list, I put Tethys in B tier, but
Yeah, we made fun of you a lot for that, I'm pretty
yeah,
sure too.
like if you want to
Yeah.
think about the character in a vacuum, she is the worst. I think contextually she's usually pretty good. I'm just saying this, and really I should save it for next week. I think Penumbra's a little better than I was giving him credit for when we were doing the tier listing. I've warmed up
Yeah.
with the Penumbra a bit, and I think that Tethys, especially after that last bad seed, she's looking pretty grim. But
Yeah. I mean,
contextually in Stygian, she is still a character in Stygian.
Exactly, right. I think being in Stygian versus being in Umbra changes a lot there. I think if Penumbra was a Stygian champion, I would feel much better about Penumbra's position
Oh
overall.
yeah,
But yeah.
Architect with Stygian, just
Yeah,
a
Architect
bunch of
and line.
sirens. Oh
You know what? I'm thinking about it more. I'm putting it actually back to D tier because when I gotta be fair. I gotta be fair about this. Conduit Tethys is best when you can keep it alive, and I think Hellhorn is probably like tied for, if not the best clan at keeping Tethys alive, just by putting armor on it, so it can
yeah,
survive Sweep versus Divinity. Like you can't really use Awoken to heal it because it has such low max HP. Like it's not really a viable strategy. You can like I don't know reform it. Is that a good way to keep it alive? Just bring it back
stealth.
after it dies,
Actually,
right?
I've
reform
I've
is
done it
fine.
before.
Mm-hmm. And then like Wurmkin has Echo Infusion, which can keep it alive too. But like
Bruh.
Hellhorns may be the best way to actually like reliably keep it from dying. Umbra has like what Prismal Dust?
Prismal Dust,
Image
yeah.
Shield, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That one's pretty good.
Um, but like I think that I'm gonna bump it up a bit because of that, and then also you can do things like Battering Ram, Conduit Tethys, which is fun too.
Fun. And one other thing I want to mention real quick, and then we can move on from this combo. I did get to see for the first time in my life in that curse seed that Cranberry had, Dark Deal get a cost reduction from Conduit Tethys. because I had to try and keep up with scaling on Arcus. I had to play incants and increase the cost of Dark Deal, but it didn't matter. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually had Spell Chain Dark Deal in that one too, so
Oh,
I was
buddy.
seeing it as well.
That was wild. Everyone was crazy. Anyway, I think we've tarried long enough here.
Yeah, I mean we've talked a lot about Tethys, which should
Yeah.
speed up the others, so I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine.
So
Yeah.
Exile, Stygian, Hellhorn, unless you guys have any closing thoughts.
Yeah, D tier.
Yeah, D tier.
Yeah, I put it at the D tier because, like, it is
Now,
actually good at protecting Tethys, but fuck all
I
those units.
I put Stygian Hellhorn in D tier so that I could slam Exile Stygian Hellhorn in F tier. I hate this combo so much.
Really? I want to hear this. No, go for it.
Yeah, so I mean this is it. I specifically I hate, and because we haven't differentiated here, I am putting this in F tier. But if we differentiated this into Exile Hellhorn versus default Hellhorn, it would change. Exile Hellhorn, Exile Stygian, Exile Hellhorn is my least favorite combo in the game. I hate that start a lot.
Okay, I'll give you that.
It feels so bad because Soulguard is the character that you need to incant. You have no choice, and if you have Queen's Implings in your starter and Foregone Powers, and you have, like, I don't know, say you start with an Imp, like Rage Imp for example, as one of your Hellhorn starters, you could just see a run where you incant maybe 3 times a turn if you're lucky, but more realistically 3 times a combat once per turn, and that just doesn't feel good, and I don't like it.
That's fair. No, I think I agree. If you split the Queen's Impling and the Torch starters off from each other, I rate Queen's Impling way lower.
Oh yeah.
But I actually have, since we're not doing that, I actually have this in A tier because, yeah, because one of my things with Soulguard is he has one really good path, Titan Channel.
Mhm.
And there are certain clan combos that enable Cold Channel to be really powerful. And armor availability in Hellhorn is one of them.
Yeah.
And so when you apply armor to Cold Channel, suddenly this guy carries your whole run and you have a whole new line opened up to you. You don't need as many incants and you can get armor from incants too. So I actually find that combo really consistent because I'm able to win the Cold Channel, Dire Channel starts very easily. So that's kind of my opinion. Though, of course, Torch is a big part of that, right? Because you can self-torch Cold Channel for a proc of a massive amount of Frostbite.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
I had forgotten that imps existed when I initially put this in B, and I think I'm going to keep it at B for now, just because Dusk has it in A, and I want to try to be the middle ground here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the imp thing is a huge deal. But also, I 100% agree with what Dusk said about the armor opening up Cold Channel as a viable path. There's, like, realistically, there's only 2 clans that can play Cold Channel, and it's Hellhorn and Awoken. You can, like, kind of argue that Melting can, but reforming Cold Channel Rector or not Rector, Cold Channel Soulguard, in my opinion, is not a great line.
No, you can't do that. He loses all of his shard. It's terrible.
Exactly. You can if you're purely trying to kill backline, I guess you can do that because you can, like, play 1 or 2 spells, and then, like, yeah, hooray, you've done it. But it's not that good.
It's pretty bad if you're leaving Cold Channel as a bad Titan Sentry, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it Cold Channel is bustedly strong if you can actually keep it alive. And Hellhorn does a pretty good job of that. And then you also have, again, the same armor synergies we mentioned before. Great armor stuff. But the imp start is horrendously bad. That is true.
Yeah, you can start with no incants essentially in your entire run. If you get, like, Mollusk Mage and Imp start with Queen's Impling.
Yeah, that starts real bad. You get, like, Rage Imp, so you don't even get value on Cold Channel. You get, like, Rage Imp, Mollusk Mage, Pyre Chomper. That's a top right there.
That would be truly cursed. If anyone has a seed of that, send that my way. Oh God,
I don't want
top
to see
right
that one.
run. And then first banner is Demon Fiend Consumer Crowns, please.
Oh,
Yep.
That's a top right.
That, you know what? I'm gonna say it. That might be unwinnable depending on some of your other things there, right? Like if you have untakeable unit trials or no unit trials at all, you might just lose.
Yeah. And while we're at it, since we talked a lot about Tethys, we may as well talk about Soulguard too. Personally, I find that Titan Channel's pretty good if you build your deck for it. 15 incants is not too hard. Cold Channel's fine, and I never played Dire Channel. I really hate Dire Channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never liked it.
Dire Channel suffers in the same way I think Royalty Queen does right now. It only
Yeah.
hits one time. So
Mm-hmm.
even if you do big incant and get him up to 700 damage or something, the only thing he realistically can do for your run is kill a mini boss if you've opened him up to it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just overkilling everything.
Would it be that strong if you gave him trample at like maybe even just like that level 3?
I think the swing in power, if you gave either Queen, Royalty, or Dire Channel Trample, would be pretty massive because you can
Yeah.
incant them really fast to big numbers.
Yes, but you can't really give him quick reliably. And also, is it
Right.
an end of turn trigger or is it an action?
It's
It's an
action.
action.
Okay. So yeah, if
I
you give him quick, then he'd fucking ruin things. But I don't know, maybe it's worth it. Maybe that's like a good reward. Like I like it when like you get a reward for giving your champion quick in like a weird, unorthodox way with like Imperialist tossing imps at quick speed is pretty cool. Stuff like that.
Yeah. I do think those kind of single hit big stat champions need some help in the DLC, just given the changes to, especially the divinity himself, that combat. So
yeah. Dire Channel Soulguard is the battering ram of champions.
Yeah.
yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Seems cool on paper, but then you play it and go, why can't I give this multi-strike?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, to go back to what you were saying before as well, I think the clans that make Cold Channel good make Soulguard the best. So you're going to
Yeah.
see that a lot in my rankings where the ones that play nice with Soulguard are going to be really strong and I'm going to rate them highly. The ones that play poorly with Soulguard are going to be rock bottom, basically. So,
Yeah. For the record, I put Exile, Stygian, Hellhorn in F tier, but if we were differentiating, it would be Exile, Stygian, Exile, Hellhorn, F tier, and I'd probably put the other combo like B or probably B.
yeah.
All right. Closing thoughts?
No.
Okay.
No.
No
All right.
closing thoughts.
That's fine. Stygian Awoken. This combo's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's probably Tethys' best combo, personally.
Mhm.
You get the ability to incant a ton. You have a lot of draw power. It accelerates you fast. It's good with restores or root seeds because you can
Mhm.
do different things with both. I have it at B tier just because Tethys, but it's good. I could maybe even go A tier depending on some conditions. The one kind of thing to be watchful here, though, is outside of an incant line, or maybe if you have restores and Awoken Hollow line, there's not a lot of scaling in this combo. So you're looking for things like Razor Sharps, and you might be taking Desperation Steel Enhancers in order to beef up your units. But yeah, that's just kind of the only thing to really be thinking about.
One thing about Steel Enhancer is that it costs 0. So if you're trying to incant, it's a pretty good spell in that deck too.
Right, exactly. It's a good spell chain target for incant builds.
Yep. I have it at B tier as well. I think Tethys does really hold back the clan. There's not a whole lot you can do with the two of them. Like you don't need handheld because you already have access to sweepers. Like Conduit doesn't even work with like half of the awoken spells because they're healing spells. It's not great. It's really just the sheer fact that Stygian and Awoken work so well together that puts the clan combo so high up. But like,
Yeah,
you know,
you're absolutely right. And I mean, like, Restoration Detonation is one of the weird ones that is a damaging spell that doesn't benefit from Conduit because it uses a specialized relative damage to heal ratio effect. So there's a lot of weird ones in the clan like that.
Yeah, I put it A tier. I think it's a good combo. It's like if you don't see incants, it might be a little awkward, but how many runs of Stygian do you not see any source of incant, right? Even if you miss incants, you can play like Shattered Shell. He's still good. He's still there. It's still awoken. There's probably the existence of a very cursed seed where your whole run is just like sweep units and sharks, but even then I think you can get there. I'm not as hard on Tethys, I think, as most people are because, I think she's fine.
no, you already agreed she was the worst.
I think she is the worst in the vacuum, but like in the context of the clan and what you need to do, you're probably getting past Daedalus with this combo. And with Stygian is like Little Fade, where once you get past Daedalus, there's probably a winning line somewhere in your Stygian combo. All you have to do is look, you have Stygian spells, you have Stygian units, Like they're all really good, and so I don't know.
I think it's important to note that there's no really good way in Awoken to keep Stygian or to keep Tethys alive. Like if you want to play top floor, like you kind of just can't with Tethys.
Yeah,
If you're doing a cultivate strat, kind of a liability because Tethys has such small base stats that it'll be taking the cultivates away from your priority unit. It's weird. It's kind of weird. I don't like Tethys.
Yeah, it's definitely a combo where you more likely are going to be throwing away Tethys. Like put her behind a shark on bottom floor, and when she dies, she's gone, and it's fine because you have an Awoken Hollow Shattered Shell up top, and that's just going to win or something. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Mostly, like we are a big thing that we're saying a lot as detractors towards Tethys is that you're not going to be able to play our top floor. I feel like if your run loses because Tethys dies on the top floor of the Divinity, something went wrong. Like you don't need to keep Tethys alive. If she dies, she dies. I feel like you should know pretty well going into the Divinity if your Tethys will live or not. And if she won't live, you just have to change your deck a little bit and change your planning a little bit. If you take Conduit 3 and double draw and then cruise up to the Divinity with no answer and die, that's not really Tethys' fault. You knew what's going to happen. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
fair, yeah.
it's one of those situations where she's not good. Obviously, she's no little fade, but
Mhm.
she's like you're gonna live through the early game usually. In your worst of times, you can just pick one of the bad ones, and she'll live. Tethys will be fine. You'll be okay. Usually, something has to go pretty wrong. Like what kills Tethys in the early game pre-Daedalus? It's exactly High Priest or taking a Spikes trial.
Going to anything above 20 shards. I think 25 shards spawns the sweeper
Oh yeah,
elite, which will
Mhm.
kill her. But yeah,
yeah. I guess I haven't encountered that situation because I usually take 0 pack shards before Daedalus, also, especially with Tethys.
right, yeah, yeah.
Again, it's like there are negatives to Tethys, but I feel like it's a planning thing that you can just get around and then be fine. I'm ready to go to bat. I'll die on this hill.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, honestly. I mean, I do think I think every run is still winnable, even though the doomed seed existed. Thanks, Cranberry.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
But
problem.
like, regardless of that, I think every run is winnable, and I think that Tethys is included in that. There are ways you just plan around her
Mhm.
weaknesses, and it just kind of sucks to have to deal with that, right? It's just an extra layer of, well, if I were playing a better champion, I wouldn't have this problem, and that's
Yeah.
really, I think, where the complaints come from. So
No,
I think I
fair.
realized why I like this clan combo is because Awoken gives you the ability to just say, "Hey, Tethys, maybe next run, maybe
Yeah.
next run I'll play you. I don't need you on this. Run. You're not reliant on Tethys's
yeah.
conduit ability. You can just play your spells normally and then win the game using those. You don't need to actually use Tethys.
Absolutely. And I mean, you have really good tanks in this clan combo to stick in front of a sweeper. If you
Mhm.
don't have Woken Hollow or you don't have Restores, you can put like an Armor Shark in front of a Shattered Shell and it's going to do great because you're going to be incanting it a ton.
Yep.
So you're just going to be fine. I think it's totally cool.
Yeah. Agree. All right. I said A, you guys both said B, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Up next is Exile Stygian Awoken. I feel the same. I'm also putting this in A. I think this combo, I don't think that Soulguard changes my feelings too much.
Yeah, basically the same things as you said. I have this in A though, as opposed to B, because
Hmm.
I think Soulguard is strongly benefited by being with Awoken, with heals and stuff.
Yeah.
You have really good paths. It kind of highlights the difference between having a real champion and having Tethys, in my opinion, because I feel like I can rely on Soulguard to do something meaningful in this run, no matter what. Even if my line does end up being something Awoken purely, Cold Channel can do something, or I could even take space and stick Dire Channel on the floor and do something. Like you can make it work. So
Yeah.
Uh, maybe I'm going out on a limb here, but I'm putting this baby in the S tier.
Whoa.
all right,
It's that mentality of Awoken opening up the cold channel path for Soulguard. I think that's really just it for me. Like making it so that way your champion will always be useful is a really cool thing. Cold channel, I think people maybe also underrate it in the early waves, or the early couple rings. Like you don't need like restores on cold channel will usually kill the first two bosses. as long as you don't take like a high damage trial into clergyman or something. So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of this guy. It for the same reasons that Stygian is already good with Awoken. Those are all there, and then you have a champion who sometimes has reliability issues in other clans, ends up actually being the most reliable, or arguably the most reliable, I think, in this clan combo.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I agree. Fair enough. I think S tier is reasonable.
Yeah. I I'm a known Soulguard hater. I don't like Foregone
Yeah.
Power. I've been slow to enjoy Titan Channel. He's all right.
I don't like Foregone Power, but I think people give it a little bit of a bad rap, and I think that like it's a weird starter, right? Because it's like most starters you either want all of them or none of them. And I think we've talked about it before. Optimally with Foregone Power, I think two is the sweet spot where it actually
Yeah.
ends up being better than having zero of them because you get free incants off of it where you're ending up like usually pitching dead weights or whatever, or just other trash spells you're not even planning on playing. So I like it a lot. Maybe not a lot. I like it more than most, I think, as a starter card.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think that having two of them is perfect, and it is a zero cost incant at that point. I also think Foregone Power is really, really strong early game.
Mm-hmm.
It can represent a ton of damage to a boss or like Daedalus, especially. And it can do some surprising things where it just saves your run because you got 24 Frostbite on Daedalus, and there's enough turns that he dies. And even if your line is otherwise totally trash. So I actually think Foregone Power is pretty good. I do think having too many of them in your draw sucks. So I always remove a few, but I'm always happy with the last couple. Yeah.
Yeah. Foregone Power is shielded from my ire because Plink exists in this game. Foregone Power, I feel the exact same sort of feelings I have towards Plink, but it is less of an offender, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Random discard, sometimes putting you in a position where you 50-50 discard your most important card and lose a run. It happens a lot less than Plink, like missing an enemy at 1 health and costing you big time, right? But it still can happen, and so I don't like it for that reason. But randomness is okay. It's just that there's 5 of them, so it's a little worse sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair.
I also feel like my feelings towards Foregone Power would change a lot if Offering wasn't such a non-existent effect. Like there's 3 cards with Offering and 2 of them suck. They don't suck, but they're not very worth it.
Yeah, I super agree. I think we've talked about this in
I
some
think so.
other video, but yeah, I super agree. There should be at least a couple more. It's the same problem that I think Melting had pre DLC. There just wasn't enough density of reform cards available to you. And
Yeah.
then the addition of something like Hallowed Halls means you can see something from any clan pack now. And I think that actually helped the clan a ton.
Yeah.
So I would love if, I don't know, we get like one extra card per clan at some point if one of the ones for Stygian was an offering card.
Yeah, it seems like it's an archetype that needs more support. Maybe a cool Ember Drain card for Umbra would be nice too. The other
No.
ones I don't know. You can figure out.
Please don't give anyone any more reasons to leave me comments about not picking perils, I beg you. I don't want to pick perils.
Um,
Are you ready? Move on?
I am ready to move on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Alright. We got Stygian Umbra next. I feel weird because I feel like I'm putting everything in A tier, but I do like this combo.
What? You have Stygian Umbra in A tier?
It's
I
like
hate.
it's A or B. I like these guys.
Oof. I dropped this way down to the bottom, an F
Really?
tier. Yeah,
Really?
I think this is a really bad clan combo for a lot of reasons. I think unit drafts from trials are really bad because you just end up with double crucibles and Umbra units that are trash, and you can very easily miss incant lines entirely. I think Umbra is almost irredeemable in this combo because there's very little from Stygian that really helps it. You got some things like Frenzied Swarm, fine. Titan Sentry is really good no matter what you do, sure. But outside of the fact that the starter is at least an incant, I really don't see any synergy between these two clans whatsoever. I really hate playing them.
I'll be honest. I had this in F tier too. For two reasons, I'm actually gonna bump it up to D tier. One, I feel bad for Voyix being so far from us. But two, in Dusk's explanation, it actually made me think of something really important. And that's that Stygian has ways to allow you to play top floor for gorging purposes.
Hmm.
You have Frenzied Swarm, you have various sap cards to sap divinity. I think there's some value there. It's not, it does, I think it's pretty easy to tunnel vision, especially in this tier listing of like thinking of it from a Stygian perspective. But as we all have agreed, fuck Tethys, right? You don't have to play Tethys. I think
Disagree.
Tethys is I think Tethys is actually pretty trash in this combo as well. Like we said before, Prismal Dust can be used to protect Tethys, but that's about it. Is there anything else? I don't know. You could Shroud Spikes Tethys if you really want.
Could
I
grovel
suppose.
or
Yep.
gem trove.
Yep. Those are there too.
Those
But those
exist.
are the issue there is that like if you're playing grovel or gem trove, you're probably trying to gorge. And if you're trying to gorge, do you really want Tethys on that floor taking up space? Probably not.
It's
So
tough.
I don't know. I don't like. I think. Anyway, getting away from that, I think that if you think of it from just playing an Umbra perspective, I think Stygian's actually really good at supporting Umbra, probably in that it allows you to play top floor more easily. So I think that's the one slight redeeming thing about it. So I'll put it in D tier.
Yeah, I mean,
But
you're
I think it's actually pretty bad.
yeah.
Let me take the stand and defend my A tier placing, shall I?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So, referencing back to something I said earlier in this exact video, I feel like Stygian usually, unless something goes very wrong, you're going to see a winning line that'll win. Like you'll see a siren or you'll see like a sweeper that you can scale up, something like that, right? Usually it's a siren in this case. So Umbra cards, as much as I hate to admit it, Shade Splitter and Plink are very strong in the first two rounds, and I think it's pretty hard to die to Daedalus with those cards in your deck. Giving any unit a +6 health or a +6 attack is going to like sometimes you're doubling its base attack, for example, and that's going to make a pretty big difference. Plus, you get chump blockers, you get to save a lot of damage there. You have access to some of the strong early game cards for Umbra. So from an early game perspective, you're pretty much on lock with this combo. You're not really going to have a bad position that costs you the game. And then once you get out of there, you have 5 contextless incant cards for whatever incant strategy you're playing. Unless something goes really, really wrong in your unit drafts, uh, I think that you can usually find a way to take this one all the way. Like there's going to be Stygian banners, and maybe you have to mess up your pathing for it, but you can go to the Stygian banners and find a Stygian unit, for example. That's
You
it.
can find a Stygian unit, but you don't always find an incant. Is sort of the issue there.
Yeah,
Or you
but
see
like
like,
I don't
yeah, go
know.
ahead.
A majority of the time, you're going to hit something that works. I feel like, and even if you don't, I don't know. You could do some bad stuff. I'm sure it is a tough one if you don't hit specifically incant scaling, but you're still like any run that doesn't have scaling is going to be bad, right? I feel like
Mhm.
you could make the same sort of case in Stygian Awoken, where if you miss scaling, it's bad. Yeah, I agree. There's like
Yeah,
slightly
but
more in
I
Awoken.
yeah, that is the difference. There's more scaling options in Awoken. I feel like the big issue is that these two clan combos, their scaling plans don't mesh very well together, right? Like if you want to gorge scale, the Stygian cards do help you a little bit in regards to like playing top floor, but they don't help you with your scaling plan. And if you don't see a good gorger, things get bad quick. And then on the opposite end with Stygian, like yeah, like some of you can your starter card does give you free incants, and the morsels maybe help you in the early game, but like mid to late game, they're not gonna do much. And I don't know. I feel like at least mid to late game, the Umbra spells don't help you out too much unless you get like
Um,
I don't know, like Forever Consume maybe in the mid game.
Blazing Bolts is good too. You can get
Yeah, Blazing Bolts
Excavation
is pretty cool, and
Eruption.
yeah,
Like there's good enough spells to combo. I like the big idea here that you guys are probably thinking is what if you just miss your what if you miss your good options? I can think of 3 good options, either Siren or Allied Construct. I'm pretty confident with Allied Construct as well. I guess if you have your only possible playable unit as Alloyed Construct and you started with Plink, you would be in a bad position, but like that's a lot of going wrongs.
I think Umbra is a pretty abysmal clan. I think I try to avoid it almost exclusively when possible. And
Yeah.
I think there's so many combos of unit drafts that you look at and you go, well, that sucks. And you end up with a Crucible Collector trying to get you through the early game or something. And it's not even just like you don't hit the incant units necessarily. Sometimes you get, I mean, it's actually pretty common, right? It's actually a pretty good shot that you see a ring 2 that is an Umbra banner and money, and you don't get a Stygian banner until ring 4. That's actually a fairly common roll.
Yeah.
And I guess when you play the game enough and you hit this combo enough, it just betrays you more often than the other combos do. There's there are fewer things that actually get you there. And you have to rely on some weird stuff. Like I've definitely had to fall back on things like Shadow Eater to do some weird stuff in this combo before, just because I didn't see anything else that worked. Or I had Plink into Alloyed Construct with no morsels in my first 2 rings, or something like that. I mean, it's obviously the rare units that I think are exceptional in this combo. You know, your Eel Gorgon, your totems, all those are exceptional. That you can win with any of them basically.
Yeah.
But the problem is that there are no Umbra units that gorge and gain stats in the uncommons. There just are none. They gain random defensive crap that either doesn't even work or doesn't contribute enough. And they're relying on the morsels. And that just adds so many requirements to your run that you might not answer. Things like, how do I keep them alive if I'm playing top? How do I feed it fast enough if I'm playing middle, et cetera, et cetera. And then you combo that with Tethys, and maybe you can muscle through it. I mean, I win this run reliably still anyway. I think pretty convincingly you can get through it, but it sucks. I don't like it. I can't rank it above bottom, truly.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's fine. I don't play it a ton though, to be fair. And Umbra is bad. Like I'm between A and B. I'm probably gonna move it down to B. I don't know. It's
We
like
got him. We got him. We peer pressured him.
Nah, it's cool. I mean, like you think about it, I totally appreciate your perspective. You know, just find an incant unit and then yeah, you have a line. I agree, truly. But then really, I mean, you could say that about any of these combos, right? I don't feel it's kind of a genuine evaluation to be like, all right, well, every single one of these has to be at least B because I can just find an incant unit and win with that incant unit. I mean, sure, you could.
I think that is valid logic. I just don't necessarily agree with just find and can't win as being B tier.
yeah, but I feel like at the same time, if we want to say, well, what if you don't find an incant unit, then you can knock it down a few tiers. Like you could knock a lot of these down a lot of tiers, right? Like, oh, in this Exile, Stygian, Awoken, what if we hit our only scaling option as Awoken Hollow and
What we're doing right now, like what you're saying is, what you're describing is evaluating incant as the value it brings to the clan, which I think is a fair thing to do.
yeah.
But I think where we're disagreeing here is how valuable is that to the clan, to the overall ranking.
I think
Yeah.
it kind of depends too on how we're valuing these, and we get into what's the like how are we even tier listing these, and it's a whole thing. You know, I'm gonna knock it down to
Yeah.
B. I'm gonna knock it down to B because I'm gonna dunk on Soulguard when we talk about him, and I don't want to put Soulguard below this combo, which I'm going to put Soulguard in B when we get to the next round. And so I should put this in B as well. I think the combo is fine. I don't think it's like crazy good. I'm probably putting too many things in A and saying they're fine when A should be a little higher up. Like my tier list is probably ranked a little high, but generally I do feel like you're gonna skew things high in Monster Train because if you're thinking about these combos from can you win the run with them, the answer is usually yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's certainly true.
It's like some of them are just gonna be, and this is why it's gonna get real weird in 2 weeks when we start to talk about Little Fade because it's like again brought this up a few weeks ago I think. Are we just gonna sit here and go, yep, every run with Little Fade goes in S tier because Little Fade is just a tier above? I don't know. Maybe we just make a new
basically
tier.
we're probably gonna.
Probably make a Little Fade tier and just put all of her combos in the top tier.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like from a winning perspective, I think that you're usually like there are going to be some fringe cases where you're not going to hit a winning line in Stygian Umbra, but I feel like you're usually going to hit something, and then sure, there's going to be situations where you end up in some weird lines, but I think the combo is fine.
Fair enough.
It's no, I started with Foregone Power, Implings, and Soulguard situation.
Fair enough. I'll give you that.
Yeah, like I guess realistically, I'm ranking these from the perspective of how likely do you get past Daedalus, because most runs are going to die around Daedalus in my mind.
It's interesting. I don't think I've lost to Ring 3 in ages. I think it's if I lose, it's always to the Divinity or Seraph. Those are the only two question marks that are sometimes hard to answer. I think you can get anything through Daedalus pretty convincingly as long as you know how to navigate it, but that's neither here nor there, I think.
Yeah, sometimes I have like I have a run that's like a Stygian Hellhorn run, and I go, okay, I haven't thought too much about this. Oh, wait a minute. My floor only does 30 damage and has like 100 health. Daedalus crushes this, and it's like,
Yeah.
that sucks. But for
Yeah,
the most
meanwhile,
part,
I'm spent like 45 minutes into the first three combats, so, it's just a different way of playing the game.
yeah, that's fair.
I wonder if Gabriel has the data on which boss has the highest kill count. You think he
Probably,
has that?
if I were to
You
guess,
could.
I would say it's High Priest.
Interesting.
I
That
don't
does
know.
fuck
That's
up.
tough.
Mine, I think mine is pretty embarrassing. I think it's Crystal Cloak. I think I've had so many runs where I just forgot about the fact that a boss can have stealth and just fucking die.
True. I was going to say that might be one of them too. I'm not sure. I
Yeah,
think the
or
other one that might get you is I think Rage Fell has the
oh yeah,
highest scaling per pact shard. So if you're one of the people who's like, haha, pact shards, I'll just take a bunch, you just get bodied by her doing like 120 damage or something obscene.
yeah.
Mm,
Or Self-Made Harpy, same thought, right? Just
yeah.
cruising
Yeah.
through. Hey, last boss had like 13 attack. Oh, hey, I'm getting hit for 42 every round. Whoops. That can get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have been finding that my deaths come in like ring 3, 4, 5, and usually after that I duplicate something important and stabilize. Anyway, we should move to the next combo, I feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already spoiled where I'm putting this Exile Stygian Umbra. I also think it's B tier.
Okay.
I don't really have much else to say. I think this is a bad combo for Soulguard, but Titan Channel's fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, when you think about it, actually, maybe I would knock this down to C. You have no good synergy for Soulguard other than what Lifesteal Immortal trade on Soulguard is kind of nice if you're Titan Channel.
And then even
Yeah.
then you can't play it until it becomes real.
Yeah. I'm actually knocking this down to C. I don't like Soulguard.
Yeah. I have this at F as well for the same reasons as the previous one. There's really not much else to add other than I think Soulguard also kind of suffers here. It's sad the interaction of Damage Shield with Revenge. I think if Damage Shield interacted positively with Revenge, then I would put this a lot higher, but
Yeah.
it doesn't, so.
Okay. I got a great idea for you guys. Check this out. Right?
Uh-huh.
So I was thinking about it. I think I've mentioned it before in the past. I thought it'd be pretty cool if there was a phased morsel that could still get eaten so that way you can play it on top floor and it survives sweep attacks. I think that the concept of it is pretty cool. Whether or not it would like actually work, like I don't know how the game's code works. Can phase units get eaten? Like
Probably, maybe. I don't know. It depends on how the
so-
targeting would pick, but
I think
it
that's
may
a
be.
situation that can never happen right now, right? Other
and
than
I
adding-
and phase Soulguard can't eat normal morsels. But what if a phased morsel and a phased Soulguard and he eats because they're both in the ghost realm, he eats the phased morsel.
It's a bit of a stretch, Cranberry, but yeah, maybe.
So
phase-
because of that, I am putting this in D tier.
Nailed it.
Yeah. I like this idea that the phased realm is like a ghost realm, so maybe phased Soulguard could just start doing combat with the shards on Arcus.
Yo, that's a good idea. Give them health. Let them fight. What was I gonna say though? Actually, about this?
I have no idea.
Yeah, no
I don't
clue.
know. I originally I was like, because like I said before, I originally had the original Stygian Umbra in F tier, but then felt bad for Voyix, put it in D tier. This I had in D tier, so I don't think I want to bump it because I think it's still not a great clan combo. But for all the same reasons before, right? You can protect gorge units, but yeah, it's not great. Like I don't know, Titan Channel, kind of not great with Umbra because like it usually wants to be in the front because it's going to be your tank.
Yeah.
So you can't gorge if you're relying on Titan Channel basically. You have to play like a 2-floor setup, which also is pretty wonky. But I don't know, don't like them.
No,
D tier.
I think you said something pretty important there, which is that Soulguard does not play well with any sort of Gorger. You can kind of sneak Tethys behind a Gorger, but Soulguard, 2 of 3 Soulguards go in front. And you know what happens to units in front? They gotta eat. So you just lock out basically every Umbra card, or every Umbra unit with Soulguard if you're playing not Dire Channel. And if you're playing Dire Channel, he's a 2-space monster in the middle of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough.
Even in the world where Gorge was
I
good.
think it's one of the more likely clans to play a 2/4 setup though. Whether it's like a Shadow Eater backline clear on like the middle floor, or if it's like I don't know what else the fuck you're gonna be doing, but like I don't know. I think it's potentially viable to play 2 floors with this clan combo. Also, like I didn't mention it before. Like I think it's not a good line, but if you have like a really good Prismal Dust start, you can play Cold Channel. Like if you have like a Prismal Dust in your start, you get like an intrinsic and a value stone on one of your Prismal Dusts early. Slap that on Cold Channel, and it's like it's gonna live. Although like this damage shield doesn't trigger revenge though, so it's like not great.
It doesn't do anything though.
Yeah,
is the problem.
but
so
you'll
great.
live.
He's gonna. You can turn your Cold Channel Soulguard into your best Crucible Collector impression.
Yeah,
he sits there and does nothing.
Aww.
Yeah.
Never mind. F tier now.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna leave it at D tier, but it's rough for my boy out here.
I agree. I think that generally I'm maybe skewing Stygian a little higher. Actually, I'm not. I'm putting a lot of Stygian clans low. I just hate Stygian Hellhorn. I'm a big hater of that combo. But
yeah.
Anyway, Stygian Melting, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the original Infinite combo, like all the way back when the game was only 5 clans. This was it. This was the combo that you pulled, and you go, oh baby, Offering Monument molded, let's go. And I think they're pretty good.
I mean, like it was technically possible with Awoken sometimes in Stygian.
No, it was possible with there were other infinites in the game, but this one's the easiest because dregs remove themselves after you play them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a very strong pull to put this one in A tier.
I had a real hard time to rank this. I went back and forth, and I eventually settled on something pretty middling. It's tough because I think Melting's really awesome, and I think that dregs are a little annoying if you're going to be incanting, but at least they can get out of your way pretty quickly, and then they shrink your deck down to very manageable levels on the redraw. So it's not all bad, and yeah, you can usually make this work, and you can play into lines. You can reform Tethys if she dies. It's fine. I think it's good, but I didn't find anything that made me go, oh, wow, it's amazing. But I also don't think it's bad. So I have it at C right now. I could probably go a little higher or a little lower based on how this conversation goes, though.
Yeah, I landed on B after a little more deliberation. I didn't do any thinking ahead, so I'm kind of ranking these as we, like, sight on scene. I'm giving my feelings and going, so I'm shifting them as we talk too.
I'm putting these boys at C as well. I think Melting's pretty good. But if you're playing dregs and you're trying to incant, they do get rid of themselves, but that first cycle through the deck is usually the most important. So they mess things up a bit. So yeah, it's just C tier.
Yeah.
I don't know. They don't have anything cool. Like Dust said, they're kind of like they do good things, but they don't do cool. It's not very exciting of a clan combo.
Yeah, I've never found anything where I go, oh, wow, this like perfectly unique combo. They really just kind of do their own things. And based on what banners you see, you're always going to find something. And it's just going to work. And that's okay. So
yeah, I'll give you 2 ideas here that you can use as cross-clan combos. They are not really unique to Stygian Melting, but Stygian does have a card that says Sweep in it. 2 of them, in fact. You can do Sweep plus Paraffin Enforcer, which is pretty strong. And you can do Sweep plus Harvest, which is pretty strong.
That's true.
And those are both okay lines that fuse the combos. But like you guys said, for the most part, Melting's good, Stygian's good. You're not really going to have any runs where it's like, oh, I hit absolutely nothing. But you're not going to have any runs that are spectacular either.
I'm thinking about it a bit more, and also we have the option of Reform Shark instead of Endless Shark.
Yeah, true.
If you're missing on Endless, you can just like put a holdover instead. And like, you know, Stygian like spell shops. They have a lot of good damage spells that like having spell upgrades on them. But if you're like, you know, tunnel visioning on an endless for your hot shark so you can kill backline, you can just go to spell shops, find a holdover for your primitive mold, and you can use that instead.
Yeah.
So there's some like it's kind of boring. Like Reform Shark is boring. I'm sorry, but it is. He's just not very exciting. He sits there and just gets his ass kicked, and then he kills things still, but it's boring.
Is Endless Shark boring too?
Yeah, he's kind of boring also. At least he
Okay.
he's like Jesus. He comes back on his own. But like, it's just kind of meh.
I like Reform Shark because I can give it a lot of life and I don't have to spend 100 gold or like look for Endless. But I do agree if you kind of miss the reforms or you don't have it on holdover, then it can kind of suck. And there's usually better things to be reforming, but still, it does work. I've done it a couple times.
I don't think I've ever played a Hot Shark and then reformed him as my strategy. Like, sometimes I'll reform him and go, hey, that's nice, but it never ended up being like a main thing that I was doing. It's interesting now that we talk about it. I don't really feel like there's a whole lot more to say about this combo, though.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot to add. It's fine, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I don't know if I said it, but I'm putting it as C tier.
Yeah.
But I can see a pretty good argument for being B tier too, though. And
Yeah.
you know what? I've been pretty mean to this Stygian overall today. I'm gonna actually put it in B. Make especially the Tethys. Fuck Tethys.
Yeah, I think that if I were to order this, this would be low B tier, and depending on at the end of it, I might move it to C tier. And the same thing for Stygian Umbra, right? It's not like I'm putting it high in B tier. When you look at it compared to everything, like they're close. I feel like it's right on the line. I don't feel particularly enthused either way. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up next is Exile Stygian Melting. I've been thinking about this one quite a bit, and I know that I slammed with no hesitation Exile Stygian Hellhorn F tier because of Queen's Impling. I don't feel that way about Dregs though, which is surprising. And
they don't cost Ember.
They cost 0. Yeah, that's
exactly. I don't think this. I think this combo is similarly middling, so I'm gonna give it, I don't know, high C tier.
Yeah, honestly, I have it in the same rank. I have it in C tier as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because I don't think it's a great combo for Soulguard in general, but you can do stuff if you have like a Purifying Cleanse start. You could do Burnout Soulguard with Cold Channel. I've had that work before, and it's weird, but it's fine. And yeah, it's just okay in that respect. So I think it's okay. I have it at C. So similar reasons to the other one. Not much craziness to add there.
So I've realized I legally can't put any Exile Stygian combo higher than a non-Exile combo. So for that reason, I'm actually bringing Stygian Melting back to C, and I have Exile Stygian Melting at C as well.
Okay.
I can't do it to Soulguard. He is my boy. I can never say that a Tethys start is better. I refuse.
Funny enough, I think I have put Soulguard lower than every Tethys mirror.
You are a psychopath.
I'm a big
You are
Soulguard
a criminal.
hater.
It's weird. He's actually my favorite champion right now.
He's like,
really? That's pretty crazy. I feel like
bottom 3 for me.
I don't know. I like playing him a lot.
When you say favorite, you don't mean best. Just to clarify,
no.
Right?
No,
okay.
I'm strictly talking about. I think he is a bro. I think he's cool. I love seeing 210 stat line punch a man to death. Like it's just satisfying. And then I like seeing all the comments about Frostbite's really bad in the Divinity, and then I go it's Cold Channel, and I apply like 800 Frostbite in a turn to the entire floor. It feels good. I like that unit a lot.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it does not do that in this combo.
No, not likely.
Yeah, no, like it's like here's the thing, right? So Cold Channel trash, like I said before, we mentioned it. Reforming Cold Channel, not good, not a good line. What are your other defensive lines in Melting? Oh, I don't know, Stealth. Oh, great, he can't get hit as well. Yeah. So Cold Channel, dead. Dire Channel, bad. Titan Channel, good. Titan Channel, great. But if you don't get Titan Channel, it's not good. It's gonna be rough.
I have definitely, like I said, I've definitely taken a Cold Channel start if I am shown Purifying Cleanse in my starters, because I think that is completely viable. But yeah, that's basically it.
I don't like Soulguard.
In that purifying cleanse run, I'm imagining you probably. How did you keep it alive? Because I understand what you're saying of, oh, purifying cleanse heals. Purifying cleanse doesn't heal that much. 15 per cast, right? If you give it magic power, or what'd you do? Extreme Stone holdover? Like, what was your plan there?
So it depends a lot on what you see in the run. I mean, you could have a case where you're pinging your own Soulguard to kill waves, and you have like Light's Gift or something, and that helps a lot. Or you
Mhm.
might Extreme Stone hold over the Purifying Cleanse. I think in the run that I did with this most recently, it wasn't recorded, sadly. It was before I started doing the channel, but that one, I think it was actually just a +10 holdover on it, and I duped the thing, and just big healing, and it was fine. You have to be careful on a couple waves on the divinity, but as long as you have spells that pick off some of the priority units, like
Mhm.
the Winged Conduit or whatever, you can neuter the floor's damage pretty
Yeah,
substantially.
that's fair. I was in my head, I was thinking like, oh, maybe he's using a quick sweeper behind Soulguard to pick off backlines before they can hit. But then I'm like, what's he doing then? Like, if Soulguard's not killing the backline with Frost in the Divinity fight, he's like, yeah, maybe hitting a heavy for like 100 Frostbite damage, which is fine, but not like game winning. So I don't get. I was like, I don't get why you're doing this, but like what you're saying makes sense, and I like it.
I
And I
actually
guess.
think I had an incant line behind, and I was wicklashing a siren, and then I would just chuck her purifying cleanse on turns when I didn't need
Mhm,
to heal Soulguard. So it kind of worked out fine in that respect. I'm pretty sure that also had a Waxen Spike on it for some extra scaling, so kind of interesting.
mhm.
Yes. No, I
Yeah.
mean, I, I don't. You guys like Soulguard. I don't really like Soulguard. I don't really know why. I don't enjoy playing them. I never
Listen,
have.
I think Voix is way back when pre DLC when you thought he was bad also, and I think everyone was like, no, he's good, and you were like, no, I'm digging my heels on this one, and I think you just let go, Voix. It's okay.
You
It's
do the
not.
same thing with cultivating sentient too. You insist that thing is bad.
It's not even. I don't think it's bad. I just don't like it. I don't like the way it feels.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's
And
fair.
I don't like. It's weird because it's revenge. If it was a rejuvenate trigger, I would love that character.
Oh yeah, that'd be fucking busted if it was
If
rejuvenate.
it were
If
just
it was just a better, if it was just a better Awoken Hollow, like
dude,
yeah, it would be good.
you don't even need to make it better. Just make it Awoken Hollow. I don't care. Make it +2/+2. I don't like the revenge effect because I feel like a lot of times you get caught by the first wave or the second wave because your scaling doesn't happen until they hit you, and the scaling takes a few waves to get going. But we're talking about Soulguard. I feel the same way, similar. I mean, I like Titan Channel because he's a big body and you just set him down. But even he has his weird spots, right? Like, oh hey,
Yeah,
Patient Seraph into Titan Channel. Whoops, my backliner just got sniped because Titan Channel's not online yet. Or and again, it's should take responsibility. It's my fault. I should have planned ahead, but I wasn't thinking about that sort of thing. It only has to happen to you once, though. But
Yeah.
cold channel's fine, and I just don't. I think it really stems from I hate playing dire channel, and there's some runs where cold channel's really bad.
yeah, that's very
Yeah.
true.
I hate Desire Channel as well. I think it needs to change in DLC, and there's ways of doing it that make it not overpowered for the base game too. So
Yeah. All
Give
right.
my boy trample.
Give
I mean
him
that's
all.
a solution, but you can make him hit multiple times too, and just have his damage, and that works as well.
Yeah. All right. Uh, last combo, kinda. Stygian Wurmkin. I don't know. I've been going first every time. Cranberry, you want to do a hostile takeover for the last two combos?
I think Dusk hasn't done a hostile takeover.
Dusk, you want
All
to do a
right,
hostile takeover?
to hell with it. I'm leading this one.
All
Yeah,
right.
so I went back and forth a lot on the Wormkin combo. I think it's really good because everything Wormkin does complements this pretty well. I'm always happy to have what is it, Frozen Lance as an Inspire trigger. It's just a really good answer for that, and you can mix inspires with incants, with Keeper of Echo infusions, or Shard Soul Carver infusions, or whatever, and create pretty convincing runs. It's strong for eggs because you have Daze and Sap in the clan to protect them. You have armor available to you. I think it's pretty good. And so I've got this in B tier currently. I think it's one of the better Tethys combos. You have Echo Infusion to keep her alive, and this is going to show up again on Soulguard as well. Echo Infusion is a method for protecting Cold Channel. So, I mean, as long as you see it, right? But
Mhm.
still. You also have shelters. So, I mean, you have a lot of options there. I think it's pretty good. So I've got it at B tier. Cranberry, what do you think of this clan combo?
I put it at C tier. I haven't put a whole lot of thought into it, but I didn't think about the concept of keeping Tethys alive with Shelter. I don't know why I forgot Shelter was a card when I was thinking about this. And it's pretty cool, but I don't know. Tethys kind of stinky still. It is specifically one common card in the entire it's one common card and one rare. So you probably see one of them, but not always.
I was going to say it's interesting as well. I actually had a run that won with 3 Keeper of Echoes on the floor with handheld Totem Tethys, and she was sweeping out entire floors, and that was pretty excellent.
That does sound cool. I think the big strength this clan has is that, like you said before, like Frozen Lance being purple is really cool because you can always play it on your you always play it on any floor you want. Basically, you don't need targets for it. And in both of these clans, a targetless spell is pretty solid because if you're trying to incant, you might if you like you might not need a you might not like have a good target on the floor you're incanting on. So just playing it for and getting that value is cool. And the same thing with purple. If
Yeah.
you if you need to inspire, you can just play Frozen Lances into a an empty enemy floor, and it's still pretty solid.
Yeah.
You got a lot of good units that both clans cards will like.
Yeah, for sure. I also think that there's a fun interaction in this clan combo with etch synergies and gifts for a guard that I really enjoy, where you can just burn your starters for huge etch power. And I've definitely done that with what is it, Bog Deep Cocoon, actually, and had some pretty powerful runs there. So I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do here. And yeah, it's just good.
Probably also one of the better. Actually, I'm bumping up the B actually because now that I think about it more, is one of the best clans probably to do some sort of etch loop because you can get incant value out of constantly playing these etch cards, and then get etch value out of them, which is pretty sweet too.
Yeah, First of Kin is a really good infusion in this combo for both Inspire and Incant units. So
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I'll put it actually at B tier.
all right, Voix, what do you think?
I said A tier. Uh, if we look back at my previous feelings, this is not an A tier positioning because of how good it is at getting out of the early game, although it is fine. The big thing here is I can think of 4 Stygian units that are very strong. Usually it's 2 because Stygian's big problem is that if you're not incanting, you're not scaling. But Wurmkin is one of the best clans for attack scaling your units. Basically, I put this in A tier because there's a sweep unit in Stygian and there is an Echoes of the Past in Wurmkin, and that is just a very. If you give a sweep unit plus 60, you're crushing, right?
True.
I'm a
Yeah,
big
that's
fan
fair.
of Echoes of the Past just wins runs, especially if you have sweepers. So I put it in A tier for that reason. You also have all the other things. Eggs are cool, Wurmkin units are good. Keeper of Echoes comboed with some good sweep too.
Also, not to be rude, but fuck Echoes of the Past. You just got Echo Transfer, my man.
Yeah,
Maybe it's not like it might not have like the highest ceiling, but it's got a way better floor.
Echo Transfer is fine too, but I don't know. Dumping 10 Echoes into an Echoes of the Past is pretty good, especially if that Echoes of the Past is infused. That card's nuts. Echo Transfer is good
Yeah.
too, and it's because you have 2 good options. It's like if Awoken didn't have Cycle of Life, or if Awoken's Cycle of Life was common, and then they had like, I don't know, heal every unit on the floor and then give plus 10 to a targeted unit per unit healed or something like that. It's just an idea iterating sort of like on a similar parallel to Echoes of the Past. If you had a card like that, Awoken would just shoot up to Super S tier, I feel like, because that card's super strong. Or just any other option to attack scale that isn't a common that you have 2 chances of seeing, basically.
Yeah, that's fair.
And bad part of Wurmkin, especially if you're playing Incant, is a lot of Wurmkin uncommons suck. There's a lot of real stinkers in there.
It's true. Yeah, Total Recall, Ambient Charge. They have their niche uses, but generally are pretty rough. And there are a couple others that are just kind of hard to play, like Soul Cripple. It's
Yeah.
not terrible, but it's 2 cost. It's targeted. It's hard to put it on a floor that you want to put it on. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I didn't talk much about Tethys in my ranking here, and that's because I didn't really think much about Tethys. She's gonna live or die. It doesn't really matter. She doesn't have a lot of impact on this run.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
solve this run without her for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say like unless you're using her as a sweeper, which is maybe her best application in this clan, because like Wurmkin has a bunch of really high value 0 to 1 cost spells. Not
Mm-hmm.
a whole lot of. Do they have anything that's over 2? Do they have like a 3 cost spell at all? I'm trying to think. I can't think of
I
one.
I don't think so
I don't think
actually.
Yeah,
so.
so
Yeah.
like they don't get like that side doesn't even get any value from going into Conduit 3. So like you don't need Tethys, which is great. It's great. It's great when you don't have to rely on Tethys. So
Yeah.
hooray.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Generally, I agree. All of the things that I've said about Tethys in the past were apply here as well. Late game, you can just kind of disregard her. Early game, you have Wurmkin units. Like you can click on First of Kin, and unlike Hellhorn, he's 3 energy, so you can actually click on him and then click on him again, and he gets played. Crazy.
Yeah, right.
I know, right?
What a world. But like that unit will be good enough. There's not going to be a dead banner in this combo. So,
Yeah.
you
All right, cool.
know.
Any other comments?
Did we say A, B, C? I
You
said A.
said A, and then I said B, and I think what did you say,
I
Cranberry?
said C at first, but then I felt like Wormkin had a lot of good spells, so I put it back to B. Well, not back to B,
Okay.
like
All
into
right,
We need to
sounds good.
bring in a 4th person to rank it A so we can have ABBA.
All right, and with that, let's go to Soulguard
No.
Wurmkin.
No, no,
All
no.
right.
Right.
I will start here. I have it in the same ranking, B. I think it's again good. I think Echo Infusion adds a lot of value to Cold Channel. This is I mentioned at the beginning. It's going to be a theme. If I feel like it makes Cold Channel better, it's going to improve the run consistency a lot. And there's just a lot here. I think Wurmkin offers a lot for Soulguard. Soulguard's a good front line for a lot of things on Wurmkin, and I also think even Dire Channel is fine here because things like Keeper of Echoes can give him an attack stat, so he swings twice. So it kind of works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The end. I again, I don't know why I forgot about it, but like, especially it's more relevant now. I think with Cold Channel being opened up as a line here. Yeah, you can loop shelters. Like that's great. If you can, if you got broken memory shelter, like hooray. You can probably keep Cold Channel alive, honestly, and it'll do great work for you. You're gonna, incant him while inspiring your Wormkin unit behind. Like Keeper of Echoes is great. Just sitting behind a, either a Cold Channel or a Titan Channel. Uh, Soulguard is great. Hooray! And then the spells are good too. Maybe it's even actually A tier, but I have it at B tier for now. Just because it's like a little weird.
Yeah, it's been really tough. I haven't rated any of these as S tier, and I think it might be the only clan where that I haven't done that. But it always feels like there's something that prevents this from being truly incredible. And usually you're going to do just great. You're going to have a fine run. It's going to feel good. Maybe you hit like Bog Slime with Etches or Bounding Seal or something, and it's going to be really powerful. But short of those high rolls, nothing here is really overwhelmingly strong where you're walking out of, I don't know, ring 3 and you say, I'm going to win the game with what I have in my deck right now. It takes some work, but it gets there convincingly. And I think that's fine. So
Yeah.
I brought it up before with Hellhorn Stygian about how there's the whatever the hammer is that gives you +4 armor per armor application. I think it's important to note that there's some pretty. I mean, we mentioned it like 8 times at this point, but Wormkin has some pretty strong relics. I think Karuska is maybe the strongest with Stygian because it's like, oh, you're getting energy, so you can play your spells still. Like you can just dump your entire hand pretty easily, take card draw, not have to worry about energy anymore, and everything just like is fantastic.
yeah, I'm a big fan of Echo Seedling here. You just blast an extra
Oh yeah.
really big amount of incants, etches. They're hopefully big value with upgrades. It's one of my
Mhm.
favorites for this combo.
I think that if we were differentiating between Exile and default secondaries, I would probably put Stygian Exile Awoken and Exile Stygian Exile Awoken S tier. I think I put
Yeah,
Exile Awoken Stygian S tier, but like the fact that Restore is in there kind of drags it down a little bit. But that combo would probably make it to S tier for me.
I
Anyway,
think I, yeah,
I'm gonna put this in B tier to put it below Tethys so that I can dunk on Cranberry, and then I'm gonna move it to A tier. I think it's fine.
Okay.
It's like you have 2 good common options to keep Cold Channel Soulguard alive. It's a clan that keeps Gold Channel alive, so you always have a viable path for Soulguard, right?
Yep.
And so it's fine. Same things about the last one. Yeah,
Cool.
no S tiers from me either. I like Stygian, but I don't love Stygian.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. It does a good job. It solves the problems well. I think it's a fine clan, but none of them really wow me. So fair enough, right?
Yeah.
I miss pre DLC Soulguard so much. It was good.
I hated that guy.
We didn't deserve it. We didn't
only-
deserve him, and look at him now.
The only iteration, I mean, nothing changed.
Yeah, but he's bad now.
He was bad then.
No, he was good then.
Hey,
was
Soulguard
good.
was great when the Frostbite path was so broken that he free won every combat.
But that's the thing. People don't
I
realize
remember
he's still free one, and no one knew it.
I mean, pre nerf Frostbite, like I think it was in the beta, right? When they were first
Yeah,
releasing
man.
Soulguard.
It was fucked.
It was like, hey, I see Frostbite. I guess I'm just gonna AOE like 100 Frostbite to everyone. And then I remember they nerfed it after that, and it became awful. They made it like an end of turn effect, so it just didn't affect bosses or something. You remember that shit?
Yeah,
I
I remember that.
It was not good. It was definitely not
Yeah.
good. But then, like, yeah, I think they found a good spot for it.
Yeah,
But
he's
it,
fine.
like,
as is.
I still think that fix Cold Channel was busted before the DLC still.
I mean,
Friends
it
and
was
Foes
fine.
Cold Channel was he was busted. I don't he was still very strong.
Do you think he's busted now?
No,
What changed?
absolutely not. The damage output of waves.
Yeah, I actually agree with Cranberry a little bit. If it's his HP stat is really the only thing
Yes.
holding him back. I think if he had more HP, I would consider him unbelievably S tier right now.
Yeah.
It was honestly pretty easy pre DLC to you know, but this is also before the the enhanced units from Pyre Shards existed. It was really easy to kill like most units with spells, and then like Soulguard could survive all the way to the boss, and then he would 1v1 relentless for you, like every single boss. That's I wouldn't say is the biggest issue Stygian had, but like I mean they didn't have any issues honestly at that point in the game, but it was a free like that was kind of a big issue was relentless usually, and it was just like a free relentless win because
Yeah.
it would put 200 frostbite on a boss in relentless, and then you would just win from that point.
Yeah, priorities changed a little bit too with the
Yes.
I mean, Soulguard's just worse than the divinity, but most champions did not get stronger because of the existence of a ninth combat, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Generally, I mean, maybe a little Fade. Actually, Spike's Fade got stronger because of a ninth combat.
that's such a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. You get to see an even bigger number. Well, you guys want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think so. Go for it, man.
Dusk, you did do a hostile takeover. Would you like to do an outro?
Hostile takeover. Thank you for watching
fuck.
this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you would like to check out Dusk, what is it? Is it just Rising Dusk? Is there an underscore on the YouTube, or is it
no underscore on the YouTube?
okay? You can go to Rising Dusk. Did you actually play My Seed on the YouTube yet? I know you were debating about whether or not you should even upload it.
It's going to be uploaded. It's just I had a lot of other ones in that slot for a while, so I think it's going to be like a week before it goes live.
No problem. Go check that out. It should be a good episode, and check out all of his episodes. Watch all of his content. Wildermyth is still going pretty strong. It looks like, I think, right?
Yeah, it is. I'm going to be going through all the rest of the campaigns, the pre-made ones anyway, which I think will last for a while. So
that's cool. Voyix, what do you got going on? Final Fantasy,
yeah. Since last time we
13-2?
did this, 13-2 started going up. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching a little bit of that and going, God, I can't watch this. I hate this game so much.
I have watched every episode so far, and it is so awful. I love it.
It's incredible. It really is
like,
something else.
It's I mean, people. I'm sure you guys have heard people talk about it before about how you hate the sound of your own voice, but eventually you get used to it. That like I'm still not used to it yet, really. So I start watching them to see like, oh, what happens in this one, and I hear myself and I'm like, fuck me, I hate this. And then also I have to watch Final Fantasy 13-2 on top of it, and it's horrible. And the game crashes.
Yeah,
and...
yeah. The early episodes are definitely going to be like, wow, I can't believe this game exists, because it did crash like 5 times a night for the first 4 weeks we recorded that game. which was
That's
tough.
awful.
Yeah, I mean, I still have the files. I have like 10 files called Final Fantasy 13 2 Crash. It's just
Voix,
yeah.
Voix, what else you got going on besides Final Fantasy? I can't do this. I'm getting anxiety.
Uh,
What else you got?
Monster Train. I play that
Monster
game.
Train. I
I've
know you did.
been
Look at mini motorways. Any plans for that in the future?
Nah, I've been
Uh,
learning how to edit, so I'm gonna try doing some edited downstream content, I think, but
oh, that
that's on
sounds
the
exciting.
horizon. And other than that, not much. Waiting for Darkest
Okay,
Dungeon 2. What do you
that's
got
neat.
going on, Cranberry?
Well, as you know, Gary Bonfire,
Oh yeah.
Libertarian Fire Mage, still
Yeah,
going
yeah.
strong. He's actually it's gonna be a long time before the episodes come out, but I had to do a little bit of switching around because I kept finding better non-fire spells. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a week where I'm Gary Thunderclap, Libertarian Lightning Mage or something like that.
Ah.
There's a little bit of flexibility in the Bonfire saga there. But
How have you?
Enderall's going pretty well. It's
Was,
a lot of fun.
I was gonna say, how have you been enjoying that?
It's cool. I think I don't think the writing for the game is that great.
No.
It's a little silly sometimes and a little like very dramatic for kind of no reason. And I don't know. The characters are all pretty boring, but it's just, I'm having a great time in Skyrim 12.4.
Yeah.
How I'm looking at it,
Can't wait for the new Skyrim coming out in 2 months, right?
I think it was friend who said that it's going to be fishing.
Yeah, there's fishing.
Why is that not already? Is it like how?
I don't know, man.
I
I
want to
can't believe
fish.
they're adding new things to Skyrim
Like
in
that's
the
like
year
the one thing that can.
2021.
It's the one thing that maybe get me to buy it again is fishing in Skyrim.
Yeah.
So I might get got. I'm scared.
All right, I'm gonna end the episode now.
All right,
Okay.
fair enough. Thanks for watching, everyone. Really appreciate it as always.
Yeah. Get your goodbyes in.
No.
All right, I'm just gonna press the end recording button then.